So folks, someone said to me, Mark, what do you think about polygamy, polygamous relationships? We want your opinion. So I said, I would gladly give it. If you've been watching my videos, you know I take a scientific approach and a scientific approach to everything, right? So my scientific approach to this question of polygamy, polygamous relationships is this. Let's first look at what's called sexual polarity. Sexual polarity is the energy between two people in a relationship, and that energy is the masculine and the feminine. We know that opposites attract. So as long as those two energies are the opposite, they will attract. The more masculine you are, the more feminine your partner is, the more attraction there will be between both partners. So again, sexual polarity has to do with the energy that exists between two people in a relationship. Feminine energy and masculine energy. The more masculine you are and the more feminine your partner is, the more attraction there will be in that relationship. The stronger the bonds will be in that relationship because of the science or the metaphysics of opposites attract, right? It's called spin in terms of physics. And the purpose of having these two opposite forces, these two opposite energies, is for the health of us as a species, evolution-wise. It's for the overall health and functionality as a species, as an organism, so that we can climb the evolutionary scale. Depolarization is the opposite of sexual polarity. Depolarization happens when there's a shift in that energy. There's a shift in the equal distribution of that masculine and feminine energy. And when there's a shift in the equal distribution of that energy, it creates havoc. It creates chaotic behavior. It creates disorder out of order and imbalance, ultimately tensions and just a bad state it puts you in, the relationship in. So understanding depolarization, understanding sexual polarity, it is scientifically impossible for a human being. Let's break this thing down. Let's dissect this thing. It is it is literally impossible for a 6th degree of separation woman, and I'm going to explain what I mean by that, or a 5th degree of separation woman to be optimally functioning at her highest self as the queen that she doesn't know she is. And what I mean by that 5th, 6th, 4th, 3rd degree is this. If you're in a polygamous relationship and you're the 4th, the 5th, the 3rd, whatever crazy number you are, that means from the man who's at the center of this relationship, you are the side chick to that chick who's the side chick to this chick. And you are let's say number 5. So now you're 5 degrees of separation from this man, which is the masculine energy. Right then and there, depolarization kicks in. If you study the science, depolarization, again, which is a shift in the balance of the masculine, feminine energy that complements each other and makes the relationship prosper, thrive, and progress, right? Evolutionary-wise, we are all to be striving to divinity. What I mean by that is to be striving to raise our wavelengths, our frequency, our brain waves from delta, theta, beta, alpha to alpha or to beta, or to enhance the neocortex, to work the neocortex, which is in the frontal lobes, rather than residing in the basal ganglia or the primitive brain, which is the reptilian, right? Most of us are still residing in the basement of the reptilian, of the bestial nature. If you understand that the reason why masculine and feminine energy complements each other is to make you and I more prosperous, to make us optimal. That's the best word I can think of. To make us function at our optimal self, our best, better superlative, our best, better selves, right? Superlative, the best version of yourself you can be. So if you're that woman who's the 5th wheel, the 6th wheel, the 7th wheel, it is scientifically impossible for you to be receiving the necessary amount of masculine energy that's going to complement your feminine energy and allow that masculine and feminine energy to coincide in a way that makes you whole, that makes you educate, graduate, and matriculate into the University of Divinity. You will forever remain in the elementary grade school or high school of bestial nature. Your bestial nature, because that's we belong to the animal kingdom. And in the animal kingdom, literally anything can go. But so look, let me just say this. For those who would argue against me and say polygamous relationships is fine, it's okay, it works, blah 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 blah. Look, and then this is the cliche. To each his own. Hey, what floats your boat? I hate when people say to each his own, what floats your boat. Immediately, I know they lack the wits and the intellectual capacity to pugilistically verse me in some kind of debate. Right? Verbal pugilism. They lack the capacity and the ability and the capabilities to face me in verbal pugilistic arguments. So they reside to, hey, to each his own. What floats your boat? Hey, I ain't judging. Those are cop-outs. Cop-outs. Okay? Increase your intellectual capacity, your intellectual quotient, which is your IQ. Increase that and come talk. Let's talk. Let's have a debate, healthy. Because it is, again, a polygamous relationship where you're the fifth, sixth, seventh, fourth, whatever wheel you are, or 6 degrees of separation you are from the center, which is that man. His masculine energy will not be able to transfer to your feminine energy. Just this a plethora of reasons, but the most mundane, the most simplest reason is because there's 5 women in between you. You're the 6 degrees of separation. You're the 4th degree. You're the 5th. Either way, there's too much feminine energy, right? And not enough masculine energy to reach what's called dynamic equilibrium. Dynamic equilibrium is the dynamics of the relationship. All the moving parts are brought to equilibrium. So if you're in a polygamous relationship, there's 1 male and there's 5, 4, 3, 6, whatever females, there is not enough masculine energy to counter, offset, or to bring into homeostasis, which is the dynamic equilibrium of the organism, of the union of the organism. Because when me and my queen get together, we are united. Her feminine energy, my masculine energy, provided that we are in sync, provided that we have compatibility, provided we are on the same EEG wavelength, brain wavelength, or we have enough of other factors in place, our energies, which is the masculine and feminine, are going to work together as a union to make sure that we thrive as an organism. We thrive as a species. We thrive in spite of all difficulties and challenges, because that's what that energy is for. It is a powerful, it is a beautiful thing when masculine and feminine energy can complement, come together. Again, if depolarization, I mentioned, I'll say it again, is a shift in the equal distribution of this energy, and when there's a depolarization within this energy, there's destabilization, there's chaotic behavior, and there's imbalance, there's tension, there's tenseness, and again, ultimately, it throws it into a state of disarray and disorderliness. And this is why we have all the craziness we have going on in our worlds, in our relationships, including myself. All the information I know, I still go through hell in my own relationship, right? So, you know, I'm not sitting here like I know it all. I got it all together. I go through hell too, just like everybody else out there. God knows. Me and my wife, we're like up and down, back and forth. I don't know what the hell's going on sometime. You know what I mean? So, you know, but again, some people will use the Bible to justify polygamy. They'll say Solomon had many wives. Well, that's true. And Solomon also went crazy because of many wives, right? I've studied the Bible. I know Solomon's story. He was told not to sleep with the Queen of Sheba. He did, and that was his downfall, right? But I could use the Bible to show verses where it says you shouldn't have many wives, right? In Genesis, it says, a man shall leave his mother and his father and cleave to his wife, and the two shall become one flesh. Not 1 + 5. 1 + 3, 1 + 4, no, one flesh. Timothy says, if a man desires to be, I'm paraphrasing, if a man desires to be the head of a church or any leader in a church, let him be a man of one wife, having one wife, a head of his house and having one wife. So we see, we could play table tennis with the Bible all we want. You can knock it back to me, I knock it back to you, knock it back to me, knock it back to you. We could do that all day. Because I know my scriptures too. But, or we could just stop the tomfoolery, the buffoonery, and stop trying to hoodwink and get your pimp game on, because that's what you do, you're pimping. Pimp, if you notice, a pimp has many women, many, a harem. And yes, cultures practice polygamy. There's cultures that it is totally normal and totally fine in certain cultures, certain practices. So I get that. Again, my car outside, if I catch a flat, I can drive it for still a couple of blocks, maybe even a mile. My rims will be shredded. You know, the tires will be destroyed. It'll be a wobbly and uncomfortable ride. The moral of the story is it can still operate, even though it's dysfunctional. So don't point to, I'm not, look, folks, sharper than a two-edged sharper than a two-edged sword right here. You dig? You dig? I'm not cocky, not arrogant, but I'm factual. It is what it is. Sharper than I'm sharp with mine. I'm very sharp. So don't point to that and, oh, well, that culture. What does that mean? Again, we belong to the animal kingdom. You go into the jungle right now, damn near anything goes. So most people still operate from the basal ganglia, from the primitive brain, you know, and operate in that animal state. But the evolution, and if you study enough evolution, you'll understand that the ultimate purpose of us is to matriculate into a divinity, matriculate into the neocortex, which is the neo means new, which is the newest part of the brain. Cortex is where all your executive decision is made. It's considered the part of the brain that's closest to your godliness in spiritual terms, or the seventh chakra. So my thing is this: polygamous relationships, woe is the woman who falls victim and is beguiled and misled and deceived and, you know, cajoled into that lifestyle. She will never, ever be able to enjoy the blessings and the prosperity that comes with having dynamic equilibrium, which is all the working parts of the masculine and her feminine energy interconnecting and interwoven and interacting on a way that brings them into a state of homeostasis or balance, complete balance. She will forever be in a state of imbalance. And again, by virtue that she is the sixth or fifth or fourth wheel of that relationship. And that one man only has a set amount, a predetermined set amount of masculine energy. He can never dispense it equally amongst 5, 6 women. Someone's going to be lacking. Someone's going to be getting a short dosage. He's going to have to ration that masculine energy. You know how they ration when there's a shortage of gas or some kind of economic collapse and there's not enough gas at the gas station. They have to ration the gas, or they have to ration the food. So he's going to have to ration his masculine energy. So sisters, you will never, ever be able to enjoy the abundance of masculine energy you will get being the queen. The one and only queen in his life. You can't be the one and only queen if you're a third, fourth, fifth wheel. And again, scientific laws cannot be broken. You will never be able to enjoy the full dose of masculine energy to complement your feminine energy. And therefore you will be in disequilibrium, disimbalance, disarray, disorderliness. And you're just going to be, you're getting dissed. Come on, sisters. You're worth more than that. Educate yourselves. Raise your standard. Don't let them trick you and fool you. And again, tomfoolery. Don't let Tom fool you with the tomfoolery. Don't let Bam hit you with the bamboozle. Don't let the dude from the hood hoodwink you. You dig? Don't be no fifth or fourth or third or sixth wheel. The polygamy is not, it is not nature's order of things. It is man's machinations. I like that. Man's machinations. You know, the imaginations of man's mind. It's the machinations of man's mind. Men's imaginative machinations of his mind. His greed and his lust. The passions of his loins can no longer be contained, and therefore he runs wild like an animal. That's what that is, ladies. Don't get duped. All right? Till next time. Y'all know how I do. I cook books, bring information, and keep that light burning. Keep my light on. My light's going to stay burning. Peace.